tell us, how you got into the pet care industry, a little bit about your background.
Yeah, well, I'm from Venezuela. I came here to the US about 2010, I think it was. Yeah, it's hard to remember now. I did an MBA in international business in San Francisco, and then I got this opportunity to some friends and my present partners that they share the same passion for dogs. And actually, one of them got a small puppy. It was a golden retriever, 3 months old.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and he was planning a trip, which I think it was something pretty. He needed to board her name was Cosa. He needed to board Cosa pretty soon, so he tried to find something in Miami, and he didn't. He found
Wow.
some.
What did
Yeah,
do?
he found some. I
friend?
think it was either a vet or he ultimately found a friend where Cosa could stay. So that was like a click. He started talking to us and asked me that I lived in California in the moment if the industry of the pet care was doing good there. I said, yeah, I mean, I visited 2 or 3 in San Francisco, which wasn't the best, but in LA and Southern California, it was.
Southern California, it's definitely dog friendly. People bring their dogs everywhere, and I feel like South Florida is similar. We're based
something like that.
Mm-hmm. So many, we have a Bernedoodle, and you can bring dogs pretty much everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, the same. So in LA, the industry was booming. There were like a lot of places, not just in LA, but in the cities and towns closer to Los Angeles. And we got an idea actually from a place from there, and we started looking something. And we found it. We found a good place in Wynwood where we started the first one. And it was great. I mean, our first year, we kind of struggled because people, they have to get used to use these services. Some of them they don't even know. Even today, almost 10 years after, they don't know that daycare and overnighting places like us, they exist. They think only vets and maybe some grooming that have small daycare places is what it is, but they don't know there's some big places where you can leave your dogs, and some of the dogs they don't even want to leave, right? So yeah, that's how we founded our first one, and after that, everything started coming along.
That's exciting. I want to get more into D.O.G hotels, but first, tell us a little bit about the pet care industry. And I understand adoption rates are going way up because of COVID, and everyone's getting a new puppy.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear from you.
We don't know the numbers yet because usually these numbers started to getting more accurate by mid-year or the second trimester of the year. But we know, and we read some news in major cities in the US where shelters were empty. So if the shelters are empty, it's because adoption rate it's high. Most of the shelters in the US in the big cities usually are non-kill shelters. So, and either if they are kill shelters, well, the word I hate it, but that's how they call it. They don't put down the dog unless they get full capacity, right?
Okay.
So if you see that a shelter is empty, it's because people are or humans are adopting the dogs and getting new dogs. So that was a great sign, and we started to felt it in some of our stores in December because usually you get either puppies, or if they're not puppies and they're new dogs, that means they're adopted, right? So we also asked a question to the client, and we got a good influx of new clients that it's not usual in a year like last year we had.
And is it common clients at a pretty high rate? Like, what's the drop off of a dog, month over month if they're using D.O.G hotel services?
The services, it varies. We have clients that come every day, like taking your kids to school. You get in the morning, so you take it in the morning with us. They go to work, the clients, and then after work they come and pick it up. Same as school, right? Even Saturdays they come to us, and we also have some clients that use us only for overnight, so only when they travel. They use the hotel, and then they don't use daycare.
Gone down, but maybe doggy daycare has gone up.
Yeah, exactly. Daycare didn't stop during last year. Of course, we had some drops in sales in that segment, but it wasn't as big as boarding, of course. But we can talk more about the COVID situation later. I know we have some questions about it. So talking about the industry, as I said, about 8 years, 9 years ago, it was starting. So we don't have many numbers from 10 years ago. What we have accurately, it's the steady growth of the pet service industry in the last 5 years.
Okay.
So the pet industry as a whole, it has 5 major segments, which is the pet food, of course. Then you have
big players like Mars.
Yeah, and in pet food, you have 50% in the industry is Petco and PetSmart. And then the other 50 are small stores, and Amazon is actually getting bigger, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you have supplies of medicine and other big supplies for the pet industry. You have vet care. And the last one is grooming and boarding, which right now they are doing it in the same segment. So it's not 5, it's going to start to be 4th, which the last one being pet care as a whole, which is grooming, boarding, daycare, and everything together. So that segment that we are D.O.G is into right now. We sell some products, but it's not our main income. And we also have it as a small store, small section in our receptions. What our main income and our main focus is on services, of course, so which we talk about it. That segment is the smallest one. So the pet industry 2019 or projected to be 2020 is about $100 billion. Okay, worth, yeah. It's not huge, but it's tend to be big. But 60% of that is pet food.
Okay.
Yeah, and about 15% of that, which is the last segment, is the services.
All right.
Now the catch,
the service is growing pretty high.
Exactly. The catch is the last 5 years, the services is a segment that's growing more.
Great.
Out of the other 3,
and
right?
On the service side, who do you compete with? Are there national brands? Is it people are there not many professionals? I'd love to hear who are you guys competing with?
So that's a sign of what I said about the industry being new. It's one of the signs that you see. Yeah, so this industry is pretty small, right? You see in the US and you imagine that you have 10, 20 brands, like human hotels. How many human hotels you have? How many brands of that you have? Well, in the US, there's only 2 major competitors. There's Dogtopia, which was founded in 2002, and then you have Kambawa, which was founded in 2000.
Okay.
Those are the 2 big guys. They were primarily the first stores in the US, or the first pet service centers in the US, right? That was 20 years ago. Almost.
Their FDDs a while back, especially Dogtopia. It's pretty expensive to open up one.
Yeah, so Dogtopia, it's mostly like us. We have the same concept. Sizes are usually the same. They tend to be a little bit bigger than us. That's because they're more expensive. But royalties and marketing fees are the same. But yeah, the store as it is, it's about 20%, even double as us. They have a pretty big range from starting point to finish point.
Million or pretty high.
Million, 1.2, something like that, and it starts at 600. So I think it depends on the city. They have 140 stores, and in a lot of states in the US. So I guess it depends on the city.
With any of the apps, like just independent people that are just want to do it as a side hustle and watch people's dogs.
What do you mean for what?
In terms of like, if someone needs to have their dog sat overnight, going into D.O.G hotels, or probably their other option is using one of those apps to find someone to take care of the dog.
That's big. Right now you find a Rover, and there's another one which is big too. But I've spoken with the Dogtopia guys and some other competitors in the industry. When I go to also these major events,
Sure.
we don't consider them to be same competition or the same concept, because you have clients which prefer to use the pet seating, and then you have clients which prefer to use the pet centers or service centers, which is us. Yeah, it's almost impossible or tough to find a person that's willing to do both, depending on the situation.
Yeah.
It's either one or the other, right?
And what would be some of the reasons it's better to do pet center? Why some people prefer going the pet center route?
Well, because pet sitting, you're giving your dog to somebody that you don't know, right? Pet center, you don't know either, but at least you know they have 40, 50 dogs in there. I mean, they must be doing something
There's
good,
cameras.
right? Yeah, there's cameras. You can come in. Our centers, specifically, we have open doors and open windows where you can see everything that's going on. And then with the seating, of course, you have the reviews. This is starting to be something like an Airbnb, right? Where you have the reviews and you see other clients that, but at the end of the day, you're leaving your dog in a house of a stranger. And
similar to Airbnb, costs are going up for these pet sitter options where it's
that's the other thing.
Usually it's kind of the same cost, right?
Usually pet sitting is more expensive than pet centers. So that's another downturn for then the difference between
less
both
professional, more expensive. Maybe there's less dogs there, but not as accountable as behind.
Yeah, but I understand the point. I mean, I understand the point. You don't want to leave your dogs with $50 dogs, or you think it's gonna get hurt, right, in the parks.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure you have some dogs like I see all the time walking our Bernedoodle. There's some dogs that were not properly socialized, and they probably they won't do great at a bigger center. But other dogs like ours that love that. And
exactly.
That's puppies. They've been around dogs since they're right after they got their shots, just a few months.
Yeah, that's probably another reason why they prefer going probably to dog sitting, right? And we have these trial days where the first day you come in and the dog have to be tested with us first, with humans, and then we put him in the park or with some other dogs outside to see how it goes, right? And then if the trial day, if he gets approved or he graduates from the trial day, then of course he can come in. And sometimes we have the opportunity where we have to tell the client, say, look, we need to either try again or let's get some training first before the dog can come to daycare. And that happens,
and some of the centers will fill up, because I think one of our employees tried to get her dog into a D.O.G hotels.
Really?
And I don't think
Yeah, December, it's been pretty good. And we didn't expect it. We thought 2020 was going to be as it was, but it's starting to pick up. And we don't like to schedule some like 5 trial days or 6 trial days at the same time, because I mean, it's not honest. So I mean, I think it's even a good policy that clients will appreciate, right? It's like, hey, look, I want to see only 4 dogs that I don't know, right? And then tomorrow you can come and schedule a trial day. Yeah. So trial days are recommended to be scheduled. Then after you pass this trial day for daycare, you can just drop off anytime. And it's not normal that we get full for daycare. If we start to get full for daycare, then we start, of course, making reservations. But it's nothing that happens yet. That's a good sign to open a new one if you get full for daycare. Yeah.
And can you just tell me, I guess, a little bit how the service works, the different service options? We talked about the daycare overnight. Is one of the segments a lot more profitable than others? Just kind of curious to hear a little bit more about the services.
Yeah, so daycare is pretty straightforward. So how it works, you just leave the dog in the morning, or you can pay for 6 hours or less, or you can pay for the full day, right? Then we sell, you can bundle days and buy a package of 10 days, or you can pay a monthly fee, which comes like school, it comes like a gym, right? You can come any day you want. And the dog is all day in the park. We have big parks where we can feed all of the dogs. We separate them by sizes.
Okay.
Sometimes it's size plus temperament, because we have small dogs with the big dogs.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have like a French bulldog with thinks that he's a huge dog, so he has to go with the big dogs. And then sometimes we have this big Labrador or Labradoodle that he thinks is a small dog, and we put him with the small dogs, right? So we separate him by temperament or by size, and that's it. So daycare, it's just being in the park and enjoying the time, right? We take care of him while you're at work, so the dog is not at your apartment or your house by himself. And then the boarding dogs overnight, they're also in the park all day. So that's another competitive advantage or good thing about D.O.G is that we don't put the dogs away during the day. We just put them away at night when they go overnight, right? Yeah. So the overnight, same human hotel. You just come and stay with us for a night. It can be as long as you want, of course, depending on the travel or the plans that you have. And the grooming is bathing or haircuts, depending on the dog. If the dog has long hair, he can get a haircut, or if he's short hair or just needs for a bath, then we have the bathing grooming area.
Opportunities to basically upsell your existing clients, where if you have a regular client that's coming every month, you get reminders to start getting grooming done.
Yeah, so we have a system, operating system that it's pretty good. It's pretty functional on that. We'll send you reminders for vaccines, send you reminders for upcoming reservations, for, hey, we haven't seen you in 2 months, like we can offer you a discount or something like that. And it's very customizable, so you can change and adapt it as you want, and send reminders to your clients. But yeah, and then you can send surveys as well after the hotel. So so the clients, yeah. So it's very simple. So you imagine how a hotel for human works, and then you just try to put it as much as possible for dogs, and then add the daycare at the same time.
So for a franchisee, all the systems are there. They're just coming in, and is it more just on the managing people side?
So operations are I wouldn't say simple, of course. They're not tough, but you have to get used to it, right?
Okay.
Handling dogs is way different than handling humans. So at the end of the day, your humans are your clients, and the humans are the ones who are going to pay and are going to like the services, right? But to make them happy, you need to make the dog happy, right? And that's where the tough part comes. So operations, how it goes, right? How you receive a dog, how you put him in the park, how many dogs can you have in the park, temperament test, what time you put him in the hotel, how much you feed the dog, bathing routines, grooming routines. So that's part of the expertise that we have and we offer the franchisee, right? So we offer the key of how to make money and how to make the human happy through having dogs in our places, right? And now managing your employees, it can be very similar as other companies, right? But we also have this training program that comes with a franchise, plus the operations or the operating.
So franchisee, we were talking a little bit before we got online. There's the option to be an owner operator where they're working 50 hours or so a week and they're very dedicated to the business, or hiring a full-time manager, right?
Yeah. So there's also the option that we can manage it as well, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So the operator can come as an operator, and a manager, where it can be all day, almost every day of the week in the store, right? You can also hire a manager and be the operator, and then work kind of a part-time. So oversee the operations, be on top of the manager, be on top of everything, be on top of finances, profit and losses, your accounting, probably like deals that you make with partners, or basically how an operator of a store works. Or then you can also get a management fee with us, and then we can manage a store.
Take care of
it can be like
I know at least one of our clients is like that, where he's more of an investor. He can't allocate day-to-day time to the business, so he invested the capital, and you guys both like a minority partner operating the business.
Correct. So one of our partners that we made through Visa franchise, Actually, the first thing he said, hey, look, I love the business, I trust the business, and I believe in it, but I would love for you to manage it, and I would love to be a silent investor, and I'm happy with it, right?
And so these type of investors that are more just, checking financial controls and maybe strategy from time to time, are they able to invest anywhere in the U.S.? Is it South Florida? Where, I guess, tell me where you want to expand, where you could help in the operations, and then also where do you want to expand for those that can be owner operators?
Yeah. So for now, if we have to handle the operations of a business, I would say, of course, South Florida. So south of Fort Lauderdale, maybe, or probably closer, maybe Orlando or south of Orlando. It's where we think we can go. We have some areas of interest, which we can get at least 5 to 7 more stores than we have right now. So end up being 14. And then for partners that we have that are willing or interested in buying territories or buying a whole market, well, we have some cities of interest in the US, but basically anywhere in the US we can go and we can make it happen. We know that major cities like Houston, Austin, Raleigh, North Carolina.
Austin, all the Californians moving to Texas.
Yeah, California, there's a lot of competition, so that's why it's tough to mention.
But Texas is a good choice. Texas, where you have a big migration, and it's probably a lot cheaper, like you said.
It is, But we can go anywhere. We even have conversations to take it out of the country. So in Dominican Republic, in Colombia. So
and like how much
we want to be anywhere,
including everything: the franchise fee, the build out, the furnishings, some working capital. What's the all-in range to open up a center?
So the range in our franchise disclosure document says 450 to 550. Mm-hmm. And of course, that was updated last year, but we want to update it this year to 506,000. So adding a little bit more of like a $50,000. We've had some inconvenience with our manufacturers, especially the mechanical side of investment. But I would say no more than 600,000 is what gets you everything, and this includes $100,000 in working capital.
Okay.
Which our projections will take you to breaking even. So
about how long? What month does it break even usually?
12, 16, no more than a year and a half. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the key is just building that group of clients, and then after that, smooth sailing.
Yeah, that's a great thing to be in this business because you don't need that many clients, right? If you are in another business, you need to have a huge clientele so they can come, right? And a business like us, if you have 50 to 60 dogs which come often, say for daycare, say for boarding, they travel, that's it. That's everything you want, right? Of course, as much as possible, you need to grow. There's some dogs as well that they leave. They either move from another town or they just want to stop using daycare services for a while. But I see the same dog every day. I see the same 10, 15 dogs every day. Any store that you go and you start a relationship. And when you start that, they don't change to another stores, right? If you go to a restaurant and you don't like the pasta, you just change to another Italian restaurant, right? In here, you don't do that. In here, you trust the people are taking care of your dogs.
A couple of times, and then you might switch. But
exactly, but you want to be there because your dog wants to be there. Their dog doesn't want to leave, so
they get excited.
They get excited. But creating this relationship takes time, so that's why they break even point.
What are some of the ways you speed the relationship creation? Like, is it through social media marketing, or how are you guys acquiring clients?
Social media marketing is the key because you need to put your presence out there. Also, search engine optimization is what we invest a lot to.
Great.
Because the key interaction is when the client is trying to come to you, and that usually happens on the search engines like Google. You search dog boarding in my area, right? Yeah. And if you're the first all the time, you have the best reviews, then they're probably gonna call you first. Yeah, correct. So if you're looking for the client, it's tough to find somebody because it's not that, hey, yeah, I saw this hotel, you see your dog, and no, let's give it a try, right? No, that's usually not how it works. It's like you have the necessity, you look for it, you
Yes.
find us, and then you ultimately make the deal, right?
That's great.
So you need to find.
You're not finding them; they're finding you, which is a good place to be.
Exactly. So that's the best strategy to go, and you optimize your investment in marketing as well, because you are almost sure they're going to come to you if they find you.
Sure, it makes sense. And in terms of for prospective franchisees that don't have $500,000 sitting around, what are some ways that they can finance this investment? Are there options with like SBA loans, or how could they go about financing it?
So the Small Business Administration is an option. It's not a guarantee. We are inside the pool of businesses that they can help.
Yeah.
Approved. Yeah. Sorry, that's the word. And the bank will solely depend on the investor. If they find it, we have a great business plan. We have a good company. It's a solid plan with stores that work here. So we have had some clients that they made finance through their banks, and everything they ask from us, which is profit and loss from our stores, or the franchise agreement, the business plans for all the stores, they find it to be very solid.
So you'll collaborate quite a lot to ensure that they get the proper financing. Do you also help with like the real estate negotiations and finding real estate?
Yeah. So we have a huge team that works with real estate. We find the places. We have architects. We have engineers. We have the contractors as well. So we can take care of everything from the get-go until we open the store. Or you can also jump in and decide, hey, look, I have some companies that I worked with before, and we can compare prices, compare budgets, and then we work together. We can also, I think we've had this before with one of your clients, we can also take not 100% of investment, but maybe 80, 70% or something less. And then we might make the decision and say, okay, yeah, let's partner up. And then we partner up as a company to that franchise, or we find the other percent with our actual investors that we have. Most of our investors, I would say all of them want to keep growing with us. And they always call me and say, hey, Juan, if you have something, just give me a call. If it's 10%, 20%, whatever it is, I just study the opportunity and I would like to be there, right?
It's exciting. So it seems like you're growing a community too.
It is, right? The investors, they want to know each other and they want to be together, right? And it's normal. Every time I have a new investor, they usually tell me, hey, look, can I call the other store and to see how it was, right? And you can call the managers, you can visit the other stores, you can call the other investors to see how was the experience.
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, if anyone's investing serious capital, it's good to do your due diligence, talk to existing investors, existing franchisees.
So, I don't know if that's easy to find, Patrick, what you say, but getting into a company that will offer that to you, like, hey, you can talk to other investors, you can open you the books of your
franchisors are very happy to make the introductions and be very involved, and then other ones kind of shy away from it.
Yeah,
often they might have something to hide, or it could just be a very, very large system. And a good benefit to D.O.G hotels is you're relatively small, so you can help with a lot of those items. Because once you get to a certain stage, hopefully not, but probably you won't be able to operate hotels. You're not going to be as involved in some of the negotiations and support on the financing side.
Yeah, totally. It's understandable, and that's how it is. So I think that's why right now it's a great opportunity to come in where we can be involved as much as possible, and we have the time and the space to do it. And probably in the future, as you said, that's a problem that we want to have. That's a problem that we want to have. It's that we don't have time to be on top of everything, of course.
And why did you decide to franchise instead of just growing through corporate locations?
Well, it was kind of like a opportunity that presented to us. We have two friends that wanted to invest in D.O.G, and we didn't want to sell some shares of the corporation and then put some corporate stores, right? We were pretty small. We only had one store and the idea. And we we talked to some lawyers, to some advisors, and they said, hey, start to franchise. I think this is a great concept to franchise. Usually we don't recommend this to other industries or other type of businesses, which you can get out of your hands. But I think I think this one could be good, right? Operations are not that tough. Your profit and loss is pretty simple. It's just rent and payroll. That's it. So I think you can do it, right? And
you have to run in a sustainable way, because there's some systems that, you were founded 8 years ago, and you have a healthy unit count, but you're not just going out and selling a franchise to anyone that has the capital.
That's the other thing. We study our partners. At the end of the day, they're going to be our partners, and the success of D.O.G is going to be attached to these franchises, right?
It's almost like a marriage. Like, how long is the franchise agreement for?
It's 10 years, but we want to renew it as much as possible, right? It's renewal as much as you want. And we grow this community that I told you too, right? We want to have an investor that's willing to keep investing with us and have this investment community be attached to us because we offer them the best opportunity they have, right? So, and to have that, you have to study your partners, and you have to make a good relationship from the beginning, and you have to make them happy, giving them the opportunity that to success and to succeed in our stores, right? With our stores.
Well said. What are you looking for in a prospective franchisee?
Well, I think what I said, it kind of talks about the person that we want to be committed, person that's willing that trusts in the brand, that's willing to invest in the future with us again, if possible, of course. Because
do they need to have any industry experience or any professional background?
Yeah, based on the profile, we'll say there's no need to have background in the industry or investments. If you want to be involved, of course, I would say it's a plus to have some experience. But I think our training program it's pretty good to the end of somebody that's never been into a dog hotel can handle it very well. So you just have to be committed to be a part of it, and then come to the training. Or right now, of course, with the situations, we can do everything online, and I think that's more than enough.
Great. So looking at the date, right now is Friday, January 22nd, 2021. A year before, I was thinking there's a crazy virus happening in China. We're from here in the US. And who would have thought? Fast forward from there into March, and we're in a full-out pandemic. How has your business adapted to that? How do you see the market developing with during COVID and after?
Well, the first months, of course, it was tough. So this, if the travel industry it's getting a hit, we're gonna get a hit definitely. 50% of our sales are in overnight. So if our clients are not traveling either for pleasure or business, then you're not gonna make money. And that was the tough part, right? We had a 75% year to year lost in sales.
Not bad. Yeah. On the overnight or overall?
Overall.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, overall. So, but that was only the first 2-3 months, right? After that, it was something that was manageable. It was like 15%, 20% year to year less, right?
Oh, you're saying the period of March to May was bad. 75% drop compared to last year.
Compared to 2019, correct? Yeah.
But in terms of year over year, was it 20% drop, 30% drop?
No, year over year was 70%.
Year over year, 70%.
Yeah.
And it was those first few months where you were barely making
sales.
Yeah. Close.
So
what's it now like looking at January this year compared? Looking at has this month been a lot better, or what would you say now? It's down.
So that's what I was saying. The good thing is that, and I think we talked about this and before the meeting. December was starting to be really good, and we started to get busier, and we didn't expect it, right? And then in January, I think we can make it almost the same as 2019, if not 10%, 7% less year to year, which is pretty good compared to the situation that we are, right?
Basically, that's being back on track.
Correct. Yeah, it's basically being back on track. Yeah. And the stores that we're opening this year, I think we're opening a great opportunity of growth. This is tough to say, but some stores, some competitors, which are small, they didn't survive this pandemic. And and those clients are going to end up being with us or with the new franchises that we're opening. So there's also opportunities coming in this type of situations. And you've studied this the same as me. And for every crisis, there's opportunities, right? And I think the opportunity that we have, saying your company, my company, and the company of anybody that's watching us here, is that if you survive this crisis, if you survive the end of this crisis, then that's the opportunity we have. Because I don't think everybody will do it. So the trend of the market, it keeps growing, of the industry. There's no sign of slowing down. And as you mentioned, last year was one of the biggest adoption for dogs in the recent 10 years, right? And that's going to end up being services that they need. It's going to end up being pet care they need. And I'm pretty sure that's going to happen.
Miami travel compared to other airports is starting to really pick up.
Yeah. So I saw that the holidays year to year was about 50% less, which was tough. And then in January, it kind of started picking up.
Like New York or Boston, I think it's like an 80% drop, something like that.
Yeah, it was almost no travels at all. Right here, I mean, you live here in Miami as well, and you go out and there's nothing going on, right?
And it's interesting to see so many New Yorkers and people from San Francisco that are down here, and I've run on the street. They're bringing their dogs, and I can see opportunities for you with those folks that
which are usually the cold snowbirds. They're gonna end up staying most probably. So and I think that's a future trend. I trust this industry. I trust the stores. I think the situation is gonna get way better by the second semester of the year. It's when probably we wanna have the numbers as 2019 or probably better.
How do you see, the 21st century changing for like the pet service industry? Besides like growth, are people going to be looking for different types of services or different focuses on the providers? How do you see the next like 10 to 20 years in this space?
So I think the stores like us, it's the ones that are going to be the future services, right? Because the hotels that were usually famous, or they were usually known between the industry, were those big ranch hotels where you have 300, 400 rooms, right? And you have big yards and you leave all the dogs, right? But you have to travel either to rural areas or outside of the big cities to get to these hotels, right? Right now, you're gonna have these boutique hotels in downtown areas. And that's our goal. That's what we want to be. We want to be in Wynwood. We want to be in Brickell. We want to be in Miami Beach, right?
Miami Beach, great location. It's gonna be very easy for people to walk their dog over there, drop it off, or drive real quick.
It is. I've been looking for sites in Miami Beach for the past 7 years. After Wynwood, it was my main goal was to be in Miami Beach. And I found some, but I didn't want to get it. I wanted to be in the middle of it, right? And pay, of course.
And it was a CrossFit before, which seems like it was a CrossFit facility before?
No, next door is a CrossFit.
Right next door. That's right.
That was a restaurant. It was called Chinese Laundry, I think it was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you've been able to reconvert some different spaces then, I imagine.
Yeah. You usually have to pay for demolition and then have an empty space.
Sure. Well, Juan,
so I see that's a future. That's a future, and I think this is one of the best industries to be. Something I think I didn't mention when we were talking about it. This and the child care sector are the two most growing industries in the U.S. right now. Well, that was pre-COVID, of course. After COVID, everything is.
I think child care definitely got hit a bit hard for a bit. Like, similar to your business, but it's on the upward trend. I don't think as good as you guys. They're definitely down more than like flat. or 10%. I think it's worse than that, but it's
Yeah.
on an upward trajectory. And on the macroeconomic side, it's just going to continue to boom. So
Okay.
I think it seems like those that survived this crisis, like you alluded to earlier, are going to be pretty well positioned for this wave.
I think so, and that's the idea. That's where we want to be.
And yeah, Juan, obviously you speak Spanish from Venezuela, but we have a lot of Spanish-speaking clients at Visa Franchise, so we could definitely look at doing an interview in Spanish in the future too.
Sure, definitely, yeah. Whatever you want, just let me know, and then we can make it happen, of course.
Perfect, Juan. Well, I want to thank everyone that joined and yourself. If you like this video, like it on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, follow us. If you want to enter into contact and schedule an initial call with Juan, we'll send an email for those that registered right after this. And if not, you can visit the D.O.G Hotels profile on Vetted Biz. I'll send a quick link to this video so you can schedule a time to speak with Juan and learn more about D.O.G Hotels.
Sure, yeah. I mean, anything you need, anything you think it's going to help to make a decision on a future investment, I'm there for it. We can have a conversation, we can have a call. If you leave it around, we can visit the stores, of course. And that's it. Yeah, thank you very much for being here. Thank you so much, Patrick, for the invitation, and looking forward for the next one.
Perfect, Juan. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.